Hello friends and learners. Today we will see the third part of ion exchange chromatography. Before starting this video, please go through ion exchange chromatography part 1 and 2. In that I have explained the principal classification and ion exchanger resins. So please all of you go through it before watching this. So now we will start with the third part of ion exchange chromatography. After watching this video, learner will able to understand about the ion exchange chromatography instrumentation, the working principle related to instrumentation and its application. Now we will see the schematic diagram of ion exchange chromatography. This is the eluent or mobile phase, we can say. It can pump through to the column. Here the two columns are, you can see the two type of columns. This is the stationary phase, we can say. This column is here is a stationary phase. One is cation exchange column, in another is anion exchange column. This stationary phase is made up of solid adsorbent material resin, along with which the ions is attached, which we have to take exchange can take place. If we are carrying out a cation exchange chromatography, then we can use cation exchange column, and in anion exchange. So both columns are here. You can see this is injection wall, sample syringe, and this our column is attached to the detector, and detector is attached to the our computer. Now we can see each part individually. First of all, we will go through the column. Column are made up of glass material which is used in the laboratory, and high quality stainless steel or polymers which are used in the industry. As high quality stainless steel, they should stand or resist to the strong acids or alkali which are used for practical purpose. The separation is depend on the length of the column. If column is very wide or narrow, then the uneven flow of the mobile phase can take place. And this is the dimension, which is the length is to diameter. This range from 20:1 to 100:1. For the higher efficiency can be used. Now we can move further to the packing of the column. Before I want to start with the packing of the column, I want to tell you there are pre-packed column are also available. Most of the time, pre-packed column is only used for the best performance and the reproducibility of the result. An evenly packed column can ensure the peak that they are not broadened, and sample can passes down the column very easily. Means unnecessary broadening of peak or narrow or tailing will not get in that pre-packed column if you are using. And this in ion exchange chromatography wet packing method we are using. This resin is mixed in with mobile phase and packed in the column uniformly, and care should be taken while packing the column to avoid the air bubbles which can disturb the separation of our ions. Now moving further to the stationary phase, here the ionic compound consists of the cationic species and anionic species, means it is composed of the two structural elements, the charge group which are involved in the exchanger process and the matrix on which the groups are fixed. So material which are used in the stationary phase are cellulose, silica, polyacrylamide, acrylate, polymers, coated silica. And stationary phase material is a resin or a gel matrix consisting of agarose or cellulose which can covalently attach to the charged functional group. Means stationary. I already told you that stationary phases consist of the solid absorbent material resin to which the functional group is attached. So here we are this cellulose, silica, all these are the of which our resins are prepared to which our functional group will attach. Now moving further to the mobile phase, organic solvents are not used in ion exchange chromatography. So only different strength of acids and alkalis are and buffers are used. So in this mobile phase, we can see the exam like zero point 0.1 normal HCl or 1 normal NaOH phosphate buffer etc. can be used in which most of the ionic compounds are dissolved. Okay. Now further slide, sample preparation. Here for the sample preparation, sample must be suitably soluble in eluent, and to protect the column from the damage, samples are filtered before they use. This means it will not disturb the peaks which we are getting or separation which we are taken place. So we have to filter it before using the sample to the sample loop to remove any particulates or impurities are present, so it will not damage your column also, and peak will get really readily good. Here the sample is introduced manually or with an auto sampler into a sample loop. So syringes are used here to introduce the sample. Now the application of the sample. After packing, sample is added to the top of the stationary phase, for which the syringe or pipette is required for the sample application. This layer is usually topped with a small layer of sand while applying the sample to the column. Before applying our sample, the column is packed with a small layer of sand or cotton or glass wool to protect the organic layer of the eluent and ensure that the top of the column bed is not disturbed during the sample application. Okay. For the application of the sample. Now in elution and development of the chromatogram. After introduction of the sample, development of the chromatogram is done by using the different mobile phase. There are two type of elution techniques. One is isocratic and other is gradient. In isocratic elution, the solvent with same composition is used throughout the process. Same strength of acid or alkali or buffer are used. In gradient elution, initially less acidic or basic mobile phase is used, and then acidity or basicity can be increased at a regular interval of times. Now moving further to the detection. Different fractions are collected with respect to the volume or time is analyzed by the several method. The analyte of interest must be detected by some means for the analysis depending upon the nature and the quantity of the ionic species, such as conductometric method, amperometric method, flame photometric method, polarography, UV spectroscopy, radiochemical methods. In this, all the methods, conductivity detectors is most commonly useful detector in ion exchange chromatography. It gives, because of its excellent sensitivity, the detection can be done faster. Now, regeneration of ion exchange resin. This is the most important part in overall ion exchange chromatography. Regeneration refers to the replacement of exchangeable cations or anion present in the original resins. Means this regeneration means washing of the column. We can say whatever the bound ions are present in our resins, we have to regenerate that. Means we want the sample of our interest. So for that purpose, regeneration of ion exchange resin can take place. Now we can see on which principle this ion exchange chromatographic instrumentation work. There are the four steps. First is the equilibration, sample loading or washing, elution, and regeneration. Equilibration is the of the stationary phase is to the desired start condition. When the equilibration reach, all the stationary phase charge group are associated with the exchangeable counter ions. Means you can see here the baseline. When this baseline occur, at that time we can see that the washing is done properly, means there the equilibration is established between the sample and the stationary phase and the mobile phase, and this line indicates that the washing has done properly. Okay. Now second step is loading and washing of the sample. To bind the target molecules, the sample buffer should have the same pH and ionic strength at the starting buffer in order to bind all the appropriate charge molecule. Here, the sample loading has taken place. This peak indicates that sample is loaded properly. Now elution. Molecules are released from the ion exchanger by the change in the buffer composition. You have seen here these peaks, and this ion exchange chromatography, it is always a graph of absorbance versus the time or volume. Absorbance versus time, it can be between absorbance versus time or absorbance versus volume. Final step is a regeneration step, and this is the most important part. It removes all the molecules which are still bound. I already told you that there are two kinds of ions are means bonded, means which are bound to the resins, and unbounded. First of all, we remove the all unbound ions from the column, and then we have to regenerate or wash all the bound atom which is present with the resin. So regeneration of cation exchange resin is done by charging the column with strong acid like hydrochloric acid, and regeneration of anion exchange resin is done by the strong alkali like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. This is the information regarding the instrumentation of ion exchange chromatography. Now we will move further to the application of the what are the applications or for what purpose these are used. Softening of hard water. This is the most important and known example for ion exchange chromatography is demineralization of water and softening of hard water, in which the removal of monovalent and divalent ions like sodium, potassium, and calcium, magnesium can take place. Demineralization or deionization of water. Here the removal of different ions. Nowadays these resins are successfully used with medicinal agent to achieve the delayed dosage actions. Other applications such as any kind of charged molecule including large proteins, small nucleotides, nucleic acid and amino